Welcome once again to Sunday School on the Go. Today is a beautiful day and it is the beginning of a new lesson. The new Sunday School book is in town and it's a beautiful lesson that I want you to get your book and get involved. Now today on the Sunday School on the Go, today we're on lesson number 1 on the book 24. Lesson number 1 on the book 24, and it is Adversity, God's Tool. And we'll be focusing on the book of Genesis chapter 37. Genesis chapter number 37. Now, in this lesson, we see the story of Joseph. And then we recognize the adversity of Joseph as a tool in the hands of God. We all go through problems. But then, when your problem is the tool God is using, how can a man run away from the tool that is in God's hands? So in this lesson, the central truth says that God sometimes uses adversity to accomplish his purpose. God sometimes, let us take note of the emphasis here that sometimes, it's not always, God uses adversity as a tool to bring to pass the purpose he has for a man. Now, if God is using your adversity as a tool, then the question is, what part should I play? How yielded must my life be in order for me to walk through the adversities of life and accomplish the goals that God has set in my life? Now, this story has a precedence that the story of Joseph begins with Jacob and his children in the land of Canaan. Now, this is a story that precedes the journey of Jacob and his family from Canaan to Egypt. Now, we see in this lesson that God is about to do something, but then he uses adversity as a tool. It begins with Joseph having a dream, telling his brothers, and his brothers envying him because his father loved Joseph. And Joseph was close to his father more than his brothers. And somebody may say this is sibling rivalry, like, brothers and sisters who don't really see eye to eye. It's quite common in our homes, in our families, but then it is not the ideal situation. Why should you be more close to your parents than to your brothers and sisters? Or is it an offense? Is it an error that a person becomes closer to his father and mother than his brother and sisters? Well, in the case of Joseph, his closeness to his parents and the uncontrolled affection of his father revealed to his brothers that he is a preferred son. That caused problems. He ended up a slave, and then they came to tell a story to his father of how an animal has killed Joseph. And the Bible says that Jacob tore his clothes when he heard the news. The very sad ending of this story in the book of Genesis chapter 37 reveals that Jacob had children who were not united. What happens when a family is not united? Siblings are not united. Parents and children are not united. The children have their own mind, and the father has his own mind. The mother has his own mind. Amongst the children, one brother, one sister, everybody is thinking in his own direction. In that context, you realize that there can be room for manipulation and the devil to take advantage. So we see in this story that Joseph went through the ordeal in the hands of his brothers and sisters because he had a dream and because his father preferred him. Is that sufficient reason for his troubles? Or is that enough grounds? Or did Joseph deserve what he's experiencing? Okay, in this lesson, we understand that adversity is a tool in God's hands. So don't look down on your troubles or don't become overwhelmed when you go through troubles, but rather choose to see it as an opportunity, especially when you have prayed, understood by revelation, or otherwise have convinced your soul that you have prayed to God and he has heard you. And if the adversity persists, then it might be a tool in God's hands. Because I honestly believe that not all adversities are tools in God's hands. Some of them are the result of a manipulation by somebody. It might equally also be a tool in God's hands. But always remember, our life must be in the hands of God for every situation to work together for good. In Romans chapter 8, verse number 28, and all things work together for good for them that love God and are called according to his purpose. Remember, the lesson is going to be focused on Genesis chapter number 37. Get your book, read it, get the understanding, and let us come to the conclusion. The import of this lesson is not necessarily the fact that adversity is the tool in God's hands only. But let's remember, every adversity has a source. When you go through problems, there are human beings behind the problems you go through. Sometimes the human beings can remove the problem. Sometimes they choose not to remove the problem. But in the case of Joseph, his adversity was the doing of his own father. A father who shows favoritism in the family provides the breeding ground for envy, strife. You make the one that you favor a target because a parent will not be there always. On the day the parent is not there, what happens? So let us not create room for unnecessary rivalry in a family, because this story is a family issue. How is your family like? Don't become the tool that brings trouble, but be one that brings solution. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Send the light. Send the light. Send